Hi everyone. My name's Emily and I'm a product designer on the growth team. And I wanted to share the onboarding scorecard I did for the first time experience authoring a pipeline. So to just rewind a bit and say kind of what the UX scorecard process is first we want to identify the job to be done. So who the user is and what their desired outcome. Map out the journey. So map out the journey the user will go through and grade the experience. And that's when we kind of use the UX heuristics and set a grade for this experience. So for this scorecard, I chose the persona as either Sasha, the software developer, or Devin, the DevOps engineer. And the job to be done would be when I have a stable development and operations organization, I want to author a CI pipeline so that others in my team can leverage CI to increase the efficiency of their tasks. But due to the fact there were many ways to kind of like author a pipeline for the first time, I've broken this experience down into 4 key flows the user may use to onboard into Verify. So the first one is creating a pipeline from the widget on the merge request page. The second is users just landing on the empty state CICD page. The third, which is an actual common experience, is just Googling GitLab CICD or similar. And the final one is just the user starting from the button on that project page. So the first experience I graded was user creates a pipeline from the merge request page. And to walk you through that, I'll just walk through my mural experience. So this user has landed on the merge request page without a pipeline and sees the show me how to add a pipeline. This is actually pretty straightforward. It's a pretty big area of the merge request, kind of catches their attention. There are a few buttons here, so a user could be a bit confused on what they do first, but overall you could click show me how to add a pipeline. Then a user would land on this empty new file page with the GitLab CI YAML file pre-populated up there, as well as some onboarding tips on what to do. When they click apply a template, they can scroll through the CI templates we have. There's also a tip in that onboarding tip up top. So while there aren't very many descriptions on which templates to apply, which templates these mean, which means some kind of newer users to CI/CD might have to Google or look in the docs for some of this. Overall, fairly easy. You can choose one. So then a user can choose a template, kind of edit the template to their desire. And then there's another onboarding pop-up that kind of lets the user know to now commit their changes. When they hit commit their changes, we actually get like this little success high moment message letting the user know, well done. They've kind of set this pipeline up and gives them 2 options to see their pipeline run in action or go back to the merge request page. And this is where the user will then land on this pipeline page, can see their pipeline run. There could be a bit more context here for a first-time user on what to do on this page, but overall it was a pretty pain-free experience. So I kind of gave that rating a B. The experience feels celebratory at the end. There's less steps than many of the other Verify onboarding experiences. It catches users at the right time and right place. And overall, you can get through it fairly quickly. Some potential small improvements could be some copy could be tweaked to further explain the benefits of pipeline on the entry point. The onboarding steps could carry through to the very end to the pipelines page, or we could test them out in more subtle ways like adding text stubs to the file. But overall, this was a pretty good experience. The next one is user lands on empty state CI/CD page. And this is where the user kind of gets this empty state build with confidence, get started with CI/CD. So they would click here. And this actually drops them into the docs. So this experience does get more manual here. A user will have to kind of read through the docs, figure out what they're doing. They potentially could click here, kind of like create a GitLab YAML file, And then they kind of get pushed to this that very manually tells them what to do, like go create this file, go to projects, details. There's no links even into any of this. So they would have to open a new tab or open up another area in GitLab and kind of go back and forth. So if they do that, the nice thing here is when they do pre-populate the title, the templates do show up here. But again, for a first-time user, we don't really call that out. So they'd have to explore and find that on themselves or go back and forth between the docs to see what they were doing. Once they pre-fill that out, again, there's no onboarding instructions in this one. It's just a basic file where they would then commit the changes. And from here, they have the pipeline running, so they could then go check what the pipeline looks like. But again, no onboarding context on this one either. So for this, I scored it a C-, which is average leaning below average. We do provide the user with all the information they needed, but there are some gaps in this experience. It's very manual. They are required to go through a wiki page to get started. There isn't much onboarding help or context when they create the CI YAML file for the first time. And there isn't really a celebration or high moment in this. You kind of just do it, but it isn't really specified for onboarding. The third experience, and potentially the most confusing one, is user Google's GitLab CICD. While talking with Nadia, we realized this is a common way for users to set up their CI/CD for the first time. And it's really just by Googling something along the lines of like GitLab CI/CD to find more information. So from here, they kind of land in the docs or similar, and similar to the last experience, they would have to kind of sift through the docs, look for the information that they needed. So kind of find that get started area. And now this is similar to the last experience where they would go through that similar get started, creating that GitLab CI YAML file, following kind of like the doc explanation. But as there's no link out here, they're kind of set doing this by themselves in another tab. So copying that sample code, creating a new file where they can apply the template if they want. And then kind of like editing that file to be what they want, creating that merge request, and just viewing their pipeline running. So again, this one is similar to the last one where we land them in the docs. They have to go through the manual process of the docs. A new user who's not very comfortable with CI/CD would probably get lost in this experience. There's no real onboarding context. That being said, users can get through it. You can get through it if you can read, but it isn't the most desired experience. So this one, again, a C-. We do provide the user with all the information they need, but it's a completely manual process with very little onboarding help. There's lots of opportunities here to help for a first-time user coming. As we know, this is the common way for them to access. And for this experience, there's really no onboarding prompts at all. They kind of have to figure it out. And then the final flow that I tested here is the user proactively starts from the project page. So this is where a user kind of creates a new project, has nothing really set up yet, and realizes there is a setup CI/CD button here. So they can do this at any time they see that button to kind of get CI/CD started on their project. So that kind of brings them to this page that lets them know kind of what this is. So it's going to create a new GitLab CI YAML file at the root of the repository. So you can go here to create. Now this one lands you on a blank page again, but on the right-hand side, there's all this context to help you get started, explain what GitLab CI/CD is, how to run your first pipeline, as well as links out to templates a user could use and such. It is more manual. You do have to read through it and find the information you're looking for. The user doesn't really get walked through it, but it does provide context on the page so they don't have to go back and forth. So if they click out to the examples, they can look through certain CI/CD examples and choose the one that makes sense for them. And then come back to this page, post something in, commit those changes, and that's where their pipeline would run. So overall, this experience gets a little bit better. A C is quicker to finish and has a lot of options to customize the pipeline, but the original entry point is sort of hidden. Some of the information is a bit much and could be trimmed down and improved to be more streamlined. And this does a lot of focus on the docs and templates users have to find and copy over versus things done right in the UI. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways we could improve these experiences. But the final bonus of doing this scorecard template is with the help of Mate, we kind of crafted a mural user journey template that others can use too. So I can link that in this presentation. Also can be found in the issue of this UX scorecard as well. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks for listening.